Hi. Hi, guys. Here's the deal. Things with the kids have gotten very bad. As of last week's family group conference, it's become very clear that I'm in the exact same spot I was in April of 2016. Justin is no longer a monster to them. It's very clear advocates are doing everything they can to add to my service plan, to villainize me, and the worst part is they have taken the actual abusers, Justin and Beth Hannon, and have systematically turned them into the victims that need protection from me. They will not show up to meetings. And there has been a stay-away order placed between me and Justin that me and my lawyer did not request. I have begged for there not to be a protection order since January, when I first learned how Michael Rentner, Justin's attorney, likes to use protection orders in order to harass victims. So I dropped it. And I have stated over and over with each advocate that I do not want a stay-away order, and I explained exactly why. Even though this man has raped me the last time he saw me in January, even though he still shows several signs of being in a place where he could rage out and kill me, I feel much safer without a protection order because they use that protection order to protect them. I found out, I've been calling some lawyers, that back in 2016, the lawyer who told me the best way to get back, or the best way to protect my son was to get back with Justin, turns out there's a reason she's not there anymore. Apparently the DA came in a couple years ago and had to fire a bunch of people working in that office, the office where protection orders are held, where people go for protection orders, and where the lawyers that are supposed to represent us stay. They had to fire a bunch of people because they found out that they were working with the criminal defense system, with criminal lawyers like Sam Bassett, specifically, who was my abuser's attorney in 2016 when I had a protection order. I thought for years that she told me the truth and she really just couldn't protect me because the family court is that messed up, and that might have been part of the truth, but now I know exactly why she never worked for me that hard and why I ended up doing all of these hours of work just to throw it all away, because she told me if I kept on doing this that they were going to take my son away from me and give it to him, and that the best way was to go back to him. They talked to my therapist last week, and they asked him questions that it's very obvious they're either trying to add on to my service plan or that they do not understand domestic violence. CASA asked him, "Dr. Tyson, how do you feel about Kate's ability to make choices in her romantic partners?" Hinting that I make bad choices because it's my choice of partner that causes the abuse. And I had to interrupt her and remind her that I not once ever had a choice to be with Justin. He raped me the first time we ever hung out outside of comedy. And about a month after that, I had a feeling I was pregnant. And the moment I had a feeling I was pregnant, I loved that baby. There was no choice. There was no decision. I was keeping it. I loved him. And then I found out I was pregnant. I alone carried that baby and figured out how I needed to change my life in order to keep him and make him happy and give him a stable home. And I was doing that. And then in March of 2015, when I was 9 months pregnant, Justin messaged me on Facebook to let me know that he had told his family about the baby. And it was the first time he brought up a blog that described his rape. And it's the first time he let me know that because that blog was still up, I would be punished. And how would I be punished? Well, his family, who has the power and the money, could and would take my son away from me. And that was the second time I learned I had no choice. I went to the protection order office that now I know is shit. I spent 2 hours telling them everything, how many times he had raped me, about this letter, about his behavior. And she said they understood the danger. They agreed that I needed help, but that the most they could do was to advise me to run away. Run away out of state. Have my son in a shelter. And stay on the run for the rest of our lives. Which means once you're done being on the run, the mother's usually a fugitive, so it's not quite the life anybody wants. So I stayed, but I learned again, I have no choice. When Justin messaged me 2 days after our son was born, and he said that he wasn't worried about taking custody, he just wanted to help. That was again when I learned I have no choice. I have to let him. Because if I don't, I know what he's going to do. And he's going to take my son away, and they can and they will. And I believe that, and I don't think I should ever be held at fault for believing that. Once he strangled me in December of 2015, I thought, this is it. I've got it. I've got what I need in order to have enough proof. He raped me. He assaulted me all those months, but it's not enough. It's not enough for a court to actually care. But once he strangled me, I thought, this is it. This is it, right? I won the protection order hearing. I saw Sam Bassett's horrible, disgusting tactics, but I won it. I won protection order. But 3 weeks later, the guardian litem, another guardian ad litem that chose to ignore me, only get information from my abuser and only protect my abuser, went into court 3 weeks after I got that protection order and started recommending unsupervised overnights, unsupervised days. And that was just 2 months after he had strangled me. Things like that continued to happen until my lawyer at the time told me it was best to go back with him if I wanted to protect my son. So I went back. And I had learned no one was ever going to help us. So for 1.5 years, I did everything I could to protect those children. I was pregnant, and every day I was pregnant, he told me how terrible I was. He would tell me, when he got really mad at me, he would bring out his phone and he would say, I'm going to email Sam Bassett. I'm going to email them because you know that they will give me full custody. He knew how much family court scared me because he knew how much family court works for him. These people do not hold him accountable. They villainize me, they villainize the mothers, they take the children away from the primary caretaker and they hand them back over to the abusers who not once before ever cared about those kids. He's never wanted to go to doctor's appointments. He's never wanted to work a 9 to 5 so he can have more times with the kids. He just says these things now so he can take them away and so he can look like this good dad that he's never been. I have advocates right now, Ilana R Tanner, CASA, CPS, Michael Rettner, Erica Heim, Everybody. I think my lawyer even a little bit too. It's getting really bad. They are looking again at 50-50 custody. Justin's had no rehabilitation. The rehabilitation he has is a behavioral therapy where if you don't admit the problems that you have, you cannot get better. They have Justin talking to them about his diagnosis of me. He goes on and on about this borderline personality disorder that my therapist himself has said I do not have. He has explained how ADHD and eating disorders can manifest and look like things. This happens with any sort of psychological disorder. And they will listen to him. I'll share the FGC recording later so you can hear it in the notes. But they're listening to my abuser on his diagnosis of me, while no one's looking into his narcissistic personality disorder. No one's looking into his rage and into... No one asks me about these things, but they sure do listen to him. And all those questions they asked my therapist, guess where all those questions came from? My abuser. Advocates are not listening to me. And as much as you guys want to say, well, they're doing that because of you fighting back, that's not true. This is exactly what happened last time. Exactly. This is why you don't call the police. This is why you don't go to family court. I don't have money. My parents don't have money. And everyone is very obviously being paid off right now by Beth. Because remember, everyone, they have the power and the money, and they can and will take my children away, and they are doing it. And no one will help me. And I'm getting to a point I don't know what to do anymore. I'm contacting other lawyers. Every time I mention the players in this game, I get responses like, ooh, or Ilana R Tanner, that's not good. I've heard some things about her, and I say, yes, I know, so please help me. Help me expose these people, because I'm just one person, and I'm getting traumatized just by emails from these people. It is so ugly what happened last Monday. They used a stay-away order in order to protect my abuser, because they know the second he is in a meeting with me, I will catch him in lies. They know what I will do when I am able to ask him questions, when I am able to be a part of that conversation. But they threatened me, including my lawyer, and they harassed me until I thought that I had to leave, and I did. And I didn't realize until I got outside that no one thought about, wait, let's make sure we know where Justin is so Kate's not just going outside and being all alone with him. So I'm walking, and I'm kicking myself for thinking, is this 200 yards away? Is this 200 yards away? Because I shouldn't be thinking that. That is not what the victim should be doing with a stay-away order. But that's how it's been used against me every time in this case. But I finally get to the back of a building, which I believe is about 200 yards. It's where my car is. It's next to a tree. The windows next to me are part of an office building that I don't think anyone is in. And to the other side is just a giant field. And guess who drives by? And no one cared. No one thought about it. Because they were so focused on this plan, on getting me kicked out, getting Justin in, so he can he can talk about these things that have nothing to do with anything and that are false. Now he wants to go to the kids' appointments, and now the advocates want us to switch off when Justin never went to appointments before. This man is dangerous. He is more dangerous than he was when they took them away in October. The last time he saw me, he raped me, and it was the most violent rape he has ever had. And the one before that just in October, just last October, was the second most violent. He is not getting treatment. He is being allowed to separate himself from me to where I am not a human. And if you read any domestic violence book, that makes them more dangerous. The less humanized I am, once we get to a point where CPS is gone, I am in extreme danger. My children are in extreme danger, but no one will listen. Nobody cares. And I don't know what to do. So, I'm just going to start exposing everything I have. I'm just going to put it all out there and hope that somebody hears it, or one of the lawyers I contact will see something and they'll see and they'll help me. I've been asking to get Ilana Tanner off of my case for months. I've been asking to be allowed to go and try to have a hearing and to try to get her removed. And even if it doesn't work because it's fucked up family court, at least I know I had a chance. This woman is representing other abusive fathers. She's working on something in Williamson County where she is helping an abusive father kidnap a child from a mother who's done nothing wrong and who hasn't seen her daughter now for over 2 months. How can she be working for these men and working in this case? Oh, I know. Because she is continuously and now consistently showing signs that she helps these men. And probably because there's money in it. Every single one of them traumatizes me. I am traumatized 24 hours a day. Every email is a trigger. And this is what happens. I was abused for 3 years. But I was happy because I had my children and I could protect them. And now I can't. I cannot protect them. They are cutting off my access to them more and more. Nobody is caring that it is unconstitutional. It is some further kidnapping. But no one will listen. And no one cares. And if anything, they're probably high-fiving each other. I cannot protect them. I need help. I need help. And I don't know what kind of help. But if anyone has anything or knows anybody, please send them to my blog or to my videos or just to me. My kids are in extreme danger and they are being conditioned to not know their mother anymore. And very soon, the 3 of us, and especially me, are going to be in a very dangerous situation. And nobody will help us. And I don't know what to do anymore. So I'll make some shorter videos over the day that address each and everything that's happening and why it's wrong. Because I don't know what else to do. I'm going to post all the notes from FGC and the video recordings from FGC so people can get an idea of how this narrative has been going, how I've been shut out, how I am shut up, and how my abuser's narrative is always at the top. Because that's what happens in these cases. That's what I've been telling everybody is going to happen since the moment those kids were taken. And the worst part is that I was days away from Justin going down to a courthouse with me to sign over his custody because he was so afraid of going to jail and he was so afraid of his reputation being hurt. He said, "Kate, I will do anything. I'll do anything for you to not tell the police or to not file charges." And I said, "Okay, the only thing I want custody of those children while you get help. And I want to be support system for you. But I want those kids to be safe." And he said, okay. And we were working on going down to that courthouse, and I was this close to getting the custody of the kids so I could protect them. And I was this close to Justin getting the help that he needed and him having the support that he needs. And because of CPS and because of these departments that are supposed to help us, they took all of that away. They have caused 8 months of hell.
My children have been traumatized. And it's all going to end up where they are going to be with their mother. And they're going to be put back in the hands of an abusive father who has not been rehabilitated. And this is what happens all of the time. All of the time. So any mother, every mother who was abused, it's the abuser's final act. It's the one thing they know and they have always known is what will hurt their victim the most. And it's working. It has got to stop. I've got to save my kids and I need help. Even if it's just sharing this video or sharing things I do so people know what's going on. This is something that happens to so many people, but it's hidden under the rug because we were threatened. Don't you say a word or we'll take your kids away. If I haven't been able to prove that with how this case is going, then I don't know how else to prove it to you people. Abusers are getting those children. Abusers are winning their fight against their victims, and victims are being villainized. And then they lose their children. So please help. Please watch the videos later today. Share them if you have any lawyer friends, any family court lawyer friends, any judge friends from any state. If you know anybody else going through this, any other mother or a friend of a friend of a friend, please find them. Please get them in contact with me. The situation is, I'm afraid I'm not even going to get to a jury trial. They're doing everything they can to silence me and to keep me from telling my entire story. They're keeping it away from a jury that could see exactly what has happened and give me the rights that I deserve and the safety that we deserve. They are showing they are going to take those kids away. This is extreme. This is, if you love my children at all, if you remember any of the times, all those posts I had of them for years, if you care about that at all, please help me. Please help me. Because I'm losing them. I am being abused. I am being harassed. I'm being traumatized every single day. It is so much worse than it used to be. I am constantly having to work through trauma. Constantly. I wake up. I go to sleep. If I can sleep. And it's not because I'm crazy, it's because I have my abuser plus 10 more people threatening, harassing, and taunting me with the same things my abuser always did, because he knew the number one thing to get me was to take my children away. And that's what they're doing. I need help. Please help me.